6 signs of a stupid older woman. Don't let these habits define you. Aging is often seen as a time for wisdom, growth, and self-reflection. It's a period where we accumulate lessons, become more comfortable in our own skin, and start to appreciate life from a different perspective. But not everyone uses aging to grow or evolve. In fact, some people, regardless of their age, stop learning and become stuck in their ways, refusing to acknowledge the changes happening around them. This isn't just about the physical changes we experience as we age, but the mental and emotional growth, or lack thereof, that shapes the way we live. Let's talk about older women, because it's important to challenge the narrative that age automatically brings wisdom. It's true that age can bring profound insight, but it can also foster complacency, arrogance, and a disconnect from reality. Society often expects older women to be graceful, wise, and nurturing, but not everyone embraces those expectations. Some women fall into patterns of behavior that prevent them from growing or connecting with the world in a meaningful way. These behaviors aren't exclusive to women, of course, but today, let's focus on the 6 key signs that might indicate an older woman hasn't fully embraced her potential and what that looks like in terms of attitude, behavior, and mindset. It's easy to fall into a trap of thinking that as we get older, we're supposed to have it all figured out. That's the expectation, right? That the years behind us have equipped us with all the tools we need to navigate life effortlessly. But, unfortunately, some older women don't quite break free from outdated mindsets or behaviors. These signs aren't about judging someone's age. They're about understanding that growth doesn't stop at a certain number. In fact, it's when we stop growing that we risk becoming mentally and emotionally stagnant. We're not here to bash anyone, and this isn't about negativity. This is about taking a hard look at behaviors that can prevent anyone, regardless of age, from fully engaging with the world. Let's peel back the layers and dive into what these behaviors look like. From a closed mindset that resists change to an unwillingness to face personal flaws. These signs can be the stumbling blocks that prevent older women from becoming the best version of themselves. And when we recognize them, we can begin to make the conscious choice to move beyond them, embracing change, growth, and all the beauty that comes with it. So let's take a deeper look at 6 signs that could indicate an older woman has not yet embraced her full potential and what it means for her future and for those around her. Sign 1. Closed mindset and resistance to change. As we age, it's natural to develop a sense of comfort in the routines and beliefs we've built over the years. We've experienced life, faced challenges, and found ways that work for us. But there's a fine line between developing wisdom and becoming so entrenched in our own perspective that we stop being open to new ideas or changes. Some older women fall into this trap, creating a rigid way of thinking that holds them back from growth. The closed mindset often manifests as a resistance to change, whether it's the reluctance to embrace new technology, avoid modern trends, or dismiss new perspectives just because they seem unfamiliar. This type of thinking might feel safe at first. After all, if what you've done so far has worked, why change it? But here's the issue. The world is constantly evolving. Technology, social norms, and even our understanding of health, relationships, and personal development are all shifting in real time. When someone holds too tightly to the way things used to be, it can create a wall between them and the world around them. Instead of growing with the times, they risk becoming increasingly isolated, left behind by the very changes that could enrich their lives. Take, for example, someone who refuses to adapt to new technology. The world is now driven by digital connections, online banking, social media, video calls, and more. An older woman who insists on sticking with outdated systems, avoiding smartphones, or dismissing the value of the internet may miss out on significant opportunities for connection and convenience. And it's not just about technology. A closed mindset could manifest in a resistance to fresh ideas or refusing to hear out new opinions because they challenge what has been known or comfortable. This is especially prevalent when it comes to the younger generation. A refusal to understand or communicate with younger people may stem from a belief that their way is the only right way. The danger of a closed mindset is that it doesn't just stunt personal growth. It affects relationships. If we aren't willing to change or adapt, it's hard to have meaningful connections with others, especially when they live in a world that's rapidly evolving. Whether it's with family, friends, or colleagues, this stubbornness can create friction and misunderstandings. It's important to realize that resisting change often comes from a place of fear, not wisdom. Fear of not being able to keep up, fear of losing control, or even fear of failure. But change is inevitable, and embracing it can bring more confidence, joy, and opportunities than holding on to outdated beliefs ever will. This isn't to say that all older women who are hesitant to change are stuck in this mindset. But when the fear of change outweighs the desire for growth, it's a clear sign that the walls are starting to close in. The key here is to recognize that growth doesn't stop with age. The mind can be as flexible as ever, and embracing change, big or small, allows you to remain vibrant, engaged, and curious throughout your life. Challenge yourself to see what new things might enrich your world, and don't let a closed mindset rob you of the endless possibilities that come with embracing the future. Sign 2. Excessive gossip and lack of substance. Gossip is a behavior that, unfortunately, doesn't disappear with age. While we often associate gossip with youth or immaturity, the truth is that it can appear at any stage in life. For some older women, gossiping becomes a way to fill the silence or make sense of the world around them. But when the conversation consistently revolves around trivial matters, idle speculation, or someone else's personal life, it's often a sign that the individual isn't investing their energy in anything meaningful or substantial. At first glance, gossip might seem harmless, a simple way to pass the time, exchange information, or stay connected to others. In some circles, it can even seem like a bonding activity. But when it becomes a recurring habit, it can be a red flag that indicates a lack of deeper connection or intellectual engagement. For older women who fall into this pattern, gossip often replaces more meaningful conversations, and the focus shifts from personal growth, new ideas, or addressing real-life challenges to the lives of others. It may even become a form of avoidance. Instead of engaging in topics that require self-reflection, emotional depth, or intellectual engagement, gossip allows them to stay on the surface of things, never diving into matters that actually promote personal development. The consequences of excessive gossip go beyond just shallow conversation. Gossip often fuels negativity, creates misunderstandings, and damages reputations. The women involved might find themselves involved in a cycle of drama, where their relationships are defined more by what's being said behind someone's back than by meaningful, face-to-face exchanges. What happens when gossip takes over? People start becoming afraid of saying anything too personal or too vulnerable, because they fear it might be twisted into a piece of gossip. Instead of feeling supported, they may feel judged, distanced, or even ostracized. The more gossip takes hold, the less trust is formed within relationships. When older women fall into a habit of gossip, it can also be a sign that they are emotionally or mentally disengaged from their own lives. If someone is constantly talking about others, it's possible they're avoiding dealing with their own emotions, problems, or challenges. Rather than confront uncomfortable realities or personal struggles, it's easier to deflect attention by discussing someone else's issues. This avoidance strategy may allow them to escape from dealing with their own growth or inner work. But as much as it may seem like a coping mechanism, gossip rarely leads to fulfillment. It often leaves them feeling more disconnected from those around them and more focused on the irrelevant details of others' lives than on making their own life richer. When we talk about a lack of substance, we're referring to the kind of conversation that doesn't lead anywhere. It's the difference between talking about a celebrity's latest scandal and discussing personal dreams, life experiences, or deep ideas. Substance in conversation promotes growth, connection, and mutual understanding. It challenges us to think, reflect, and engage with the world more meaningfully. Gossip, on the other hand, does little more than entertain and distract. To break free from this cycle, it's essential to shift the focus of conversations to topics that truly matter. It's about asking questions that encourage introspection, exploring new ideas, sharing experiences that foster connection, and discussing things that help to expand your knowledge and worldview. If you find that much of your time is spent talking about others, whether it's criticizing them, judging them, or analyzing their mistakes, it might be a sign that you're missing out on conversations that could help you evolve. It's never too late to change the way you communicate, to move from surface-level exchanges to deeper, more meaningful dialogues that offer growth, connection, and fulfillment. Sign 3. Constant victim mentality. As we move through life, we all face challenges. Some are bigger than others, and sometimes things feel downright unfair. But how we respond to these challenges says a lot about us, especially as we age. The constant victim mentality is a mindset that traps people in a cycle of helplessness, where they believe they are always at the mercy of outside forces and that life is something happening to them rather than something they can shape or influence. This mindset can become particularly pronounced in older women, especially if they've experienced years of hardship, loss, or societal limitations. Yet while it's understandable to feel defeated at times, consistently identifying as a victim robs a person of the power to change their own circumstances. For some older women, the victim mentality becomes a form of identity. They begin to see their struggles as proof that life is against them, that the world owes them something, or that they can never catch a break. This mindset can manifest in many ways: blaming others for personal setbacks, feeling resentful of people who seem to have it easier, or constantly complaining about past hardships rather than seeking ways to heal and move forward. It's easy to fall into this trap because it gives a temporary sense of validation. It feels good to point the finger and say, "It's not my fault." It's comforting to shift responsibility away from oneself and place the blame on external factors, whether it's other people, societal systems, or even fate. However, while this mindset may provide some short-term relief, it ultimately prevents growth and healing. The problem with this victim mentality is that it keeps someone stuck. It's impossible to move forward or find solutions when you're constantly looking backward or assigning blame. For older women, who might feel like time is running out, this mindset becomes even more dangerous. They may find themselves becoming bitter, resentful, or even angry at the world around them, unable to let go of past hurts or disappointments. It's a cycle of negativity that impacts their happiness, relationships, and overall well-being. Rather than seeking empowerment or looking for opportunities to improve, they remain trapped in a cycle of helplessness and self-pity. What's even more troubling is that the victim mentality can create a kind of emotional isolation. When someone constantly plays the victim, it can be exhausting for those around them. Friends, family, and loved ones may begin to distance themselves, not because they don't care, but because they're tired of being dragged into a cycle of negativity. People who are constantly blaming others for their misfortune can unintentionally push away those who want to help or support them. The victim mentality can make it difficult to build meaningful relationships, as it's hard to connect with someone who isn't taking responsibility for their own growth or actions. But here's the thing: you are not your circumstances. Yes, life can be hard, and no one's journey is without obstacles. But dwelling in victimhood only prevents you from seeing the potential for change and growth. The truth is, no matter how old you are, you always have the power to shape your own story. It might not be easy, and it may take time, but shifting from a victim mentality to one of empowerment can open up so many possibilities. Embracing this shift means accepting that while you cannot control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond to it. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that's gone wrong, but it does mean acknowledging that you have choices. You can choose to learn from your past experiences, to heal from wounds, and to take action toward creating the life you want. As an older woman, your life experiences are valuable, and they can be the foundation for powerful personal growth. The key is to stop allowing your past to define your future. By letting go of the victim mentality and adopting a mindset of strength and resilience, you open yourself to new opportunities, richer relationships, and a deeper sense of self-worth. So, the next time you find yourself slipping into that old habit of blaming external forces for your struggles, take a step back and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I take control of this situation? By recognizing and confronting the victim mentality, you can transform your approach to life, leading to a more empowered, fulfilling future. It's never too late to let go of the past and reclaim your personal power. Sign 4. Disconnected from reality and living in the past. As time passes, it's natural to reflect on the past, the memories, the moments that shaped who we are today. There's nothing wrong with cherishing those experiences or learning from them. In fact, our past often holds valuable lessons. But when an older woman becomes overly fixated on the past, it can indicate a deep disconnection from the present, preventing her from fully participating in the life happening around her. This sign of being stuck in the past often manifests as glorifying previous times and failing to engage with the present, leading to a sense of emotional and mental stagnation. When someone becomes too attached to a particular time in their life, whether it's their younger years, a specific relationship, or a period of success, they risk overlooking the potential of the present moment. They begin to compare everything to the good old days, convinced that life was better back then. This mindset not only prevents growth, but it also distorts their perception of the present. In reality, there's no way to turn back the clock. What was once great may not have been as perfect as it's remembered, and the present offers its own opportunities for joy, fulfillment, and growth. The problem arises when someone becomes emotionally stuck, yearning for something they can never get back, and failing to see the value in what's right in front of them. One of the more common ways this sign shows up is in the refusal to adapt to modern-day realities. For example, Some older women may reject current technology, modern culture, or newer ways of thinking because they feel that the past was simply better. This can extend to anything, from resisting the use of smartphones and social media to rejecting the evolving standards of relationships, politics, or even personal appearance. The underlying belief is that the way things used to be is the right way, and anything different is lesser or wrong. This perspective, while rooted in nostalgia, can limit their ability to connect with others, especially younger generations who are navigating a very different world. Moreover, living in the past can lead to bitterness and resentment. When someone constantly compares their current life to what they perceive as better times, it can breed dissatisfaction. Instead of appreciating what is, they are constantly mourning what was. This can impact their emotional health, making it difficult to enjoy life as it is now. A person who is focused on the past may also struggle to form new relationships or develop fresh interests because they're so caught up in longing for an earlier, idealized version of their life. Being disconnected from reality can also have a subtle but profound impact on a person's mental well-being. If someone is always revisiting the past, they're not fully engaging with the present or looking forward to the future. They might become apathetic toward new goals, opportunities, or experiences. The idea of what's next may feel irrelevant, especially if the past holds a powerful grip on their identity. But the present moment is where true growth happens. Holding on to the past too tightly can blind you to new possibilities that could bring unexpected joy and fulfillment. The key to breaking free from this pattern is acknowledging the value of the present and embracing change. No matter how wonderful the past was, it cannot be recreated. And the longer we remain fixated on what was, the more we miss out on what is and what can be. Moving forward means learning to appreciate the current chapter of your life, finding joy in the small things, and allowing yourself to evolve with the times. Living in the present moment opens the door to new experiences, new relationships, and new opportunities to grow. For an older woman, the journey of letting go of the past might involve a process of grieving, but it also involves the exciting possibility of discovering who she is now. Let go of comparing every moment to better times, and instead embrace the fullness of what's unfolding today. You don't have to erase the past to move forward. You simply need to stop letting it dictate your present. Life doesn't have a rewind button, but it does have a forward motion, and that's where the real magic happens. It's time to let the past live in your heart, not your everyday thoughts, and open yourself to all the wonderful things that the present has to offer. Sign 5. Arrogance and a lack of humility. As we grow older, many of us gain a sense of confidence and pride in our accomplishments and experiences. And that's a beautiful thing. With age often comes wisdom, knowledge, and a clearer understanding of who we are. However, there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and it's a line that some older women may unknowingly cross. Arrogance isn't about confidence or knowing your worth. It's about an inflated sense of self-importance and a refusal to acknowledge that there is always more to learn. When an older woman adopts an arrogant attitude, it can be a sign that she has stopped evolving and believes she has nothing more to offer or nothing left to learn. Arrogance manifests in various ways: dismissing the opinions or ideas of others, refusing to admit when you're wrong, or thinking you have all the answers. It's the attitude that says, "I know best, and I don't need anyone else's input." This kind of mindset can stem from years of experience and past successes, but it also often stems from a fear of vulnerability. For some older women, arrogance becomes a defense mechanism against insecurity or the fear of being overlooked. By presenting themselves as know-it-alls, they seek to protect themselves from feeling inadequate, irrelevant, or out of touch with the world. But here's the problem. While wisdom often comes with age, so does the ability to make mistakes, to learn from others, and to embrace humility. No one is exempt from learning, no matter how old they are. The problem with arrogance is that it closes doors. It closes the door to new knowledge, it closes the door to growth, and it creates a barrier between you and the people around you. When a woman is arrogant, she may push others away, thinking that they have nothing of value to offer her. And in doing so, she isolates herself from potential sources of knowledge, connection, and personal growth. This lack of humility can also make it difficult to form meaningful relationships. People who are constantly trying to prove themselves as the expert or the authority can alienate those around them, especially if they disregard the ideas and feelings of others. When older women refuse to acknowledge their flaws, vulnerabilities, or need for help, it not only stunts their own growth, but can also lead to feelings of isolation. No one wants to be around someone who thinks they have all the answers all the time. Genuine connection is built on mutual respect, empathy, and a recognition that we all have something valuable to contribute, no matter our age or experience. The beauty of growing older is that it provides opportunities to develop deeper self-awareness and a greater appreciation for the journey we've been on. It's about acknowledging that, despite all the life experience and lessons we've accumulated, there is still room for growth. Every day is an opportunity to learn from others, to evolve, and to embrace humility. In fact, the most accomplished and wise individuals are often the ones who remain humble and curious, open to the possibility that there is always more to discover. Humility doesn't mean putting yourself down or dismissing your accomplishments. It means recognizing that wisdom doesn't come from thinking you know it all. It comes from being open to new ideas, learning from others, and accepting that no one has all the answers. It's about being comfortable with the idea that we're all constantly growing, no matter our age. And this mindset doesn't just benefit the individual. It enhances relationships, strengthens communities, and fosters an environment where everyone feels valued. As we age, the goal should be to embrace a growth mindset, not one rooted in pride or arrogance. Being able to laugh at your mistakes, admitting when you're wrong, and seeking out the knowledge of others are signs of strength, not weakness. And as we navigate through life, we should always strive to be humble enough to learn, to listen, and to appreciate that there is always something new to discover. No matter how much we know, there's always more to learn. And that is the true sign of wisdom. Sign 6. Self-sabotaging behavior and neglect of self-care. As we get older, it's easy to fall into patterns that make us feel comfortable or secure, even if they aren't in our best interest. This can sometimes manifest as self-sabotaging behavior, the unconscious act of undermining your own success, happiness, or well-being. For older women, self-sabotage may look like neglecting health, pushing away relationships, or engaging in negative self-talk that chips away at their self-esteem. This behavior can be a sign of deeper unresolved issues, a lack of self-awareness, or simply a failure to prioritize oneself. One of the most common forms of self-sabotage is neglecting self-care. As we age, we often find ourselves in roles where we prioritize others, whether as mothers, wives, caretakers, or community members. We pour so much energy into taking care of others that we forget to take care of ourselves. While caring for others is important, neglecting your own physical and emotional health can be damaging in the long run. If an older woman continually puts her needs last, whether it's ignoring exercise, skimping on sleep, or failing to address mental health issues, she risks running on empty. The problem with neglecting self-care isn't just that it leads to physical exhaustion or emotional burnout. It sends a message that your own well-being is not a priority, which can be a sign of low self-worth or an unwillingness to invest in oneself. Another form of self-sabotage that often appears with age is a tendency to fall into unhealthy routines or behaviors that reinforce negative feelings or outcomes. For example, some older women may hold on to unhealthy eating habits, refuse to engage in physical activity, or avoid medical checkups because they feel too old to change or improve. These habits are often rooted in an underlying belief that things can't improve or that the effort required is simply too much. The result is a cycle of poor choices that further reinforce feelings of helplessness or stagnation. What these women may not realize is that the smallest changes, whether it's taking a walk every day, eating more nutritious foods, or scheduling regular doctor visits, can have a profound impact on their overall well-being. Self-sabotage can also appear in the form of negative self-talk. Many older women, especially those who have faced years of challenges, may begin to internalize societal narratives that tell them they are too old to make a change or to be successful. This kind of thinking is incredibly harmful because it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe that you're incapable of achieving your goals or that your best years are behind you, you may unconsciously stop trying altogether. This leads to stagnation and frustration, even though you are more than capable of growing and changing at any stage of life. The fear of failure can also contribute to self-sabotaging behavior. An older woman who is afraid of trying something new, whether it's pursuing a career change, starting a new hobby, or even forging new relationships, may avoid these opportunities altogether, telling herself that she's too old, too set in her ways, or too far gone. Instead of taking the chance and stepping outside her comfort zone, she may stay stuck in a rut, where the familiar is safer than the unknown. This fear of stepping out can rob her of the potential for growth and joy. Perhaps one of the most insidious forms of self-sabotage comes in the form of denying one's emotional needs. As we get older, we often feel the pressure to be strong or to maintain a certain level of emotional resilience. While strength is admirable, it shouldn't come at the cost of suppressing emotions or avoiding necessary support. An older woman who refuses to address her emotional well-being, whether through therapy, speaking with loved ones, or engaging in self-reflection, may find herself disconnected from her feelings, which can lead to depression, anxiety, or even physical illness. Neglecting emotional health is just as dangerous as neglecting physical health, and it's crucial to recognize when you need help or time for emotional recovery. The good news is that self-sabotaging behavior can be changed. It's never too late to start prioritizing yourself and your well-being. The first step is to acknowledge these patterns of behavior and be honest with yourself about how they might be holding you back. From there, it's about making small but impactful changes. Start by recognizing the importance of self-care, not just for your physical health, but for your emotional and mental well-being as well. Develop a routine that allows you to take care of yourself and create healthy boundaries with others. Replace negative self-talk with affirmations of your worth and capabilities, and remind yourself that age is not a limitation, but an opportunity for growth. You also need to embrace the idea that it's okay to ask for help. Whether it's talking to a therapist, seeking guidance from friends or family, or simply acknowledging that you need to take a break, it's important to recognize that you don't have to do everything alone. Allow yourself to embrace the journey of self-care and personal growth, knowing that each small step forward is a victory in itself. You deserve to live a life that's not defined by neglect or self-doubt. The power to change your habits and transform your mindset is in your hands, and it's never too late to start. By breaking free from self-sabotaging behaviors and making self-care a priority, you can open the door to a future filled with health, happiness, and the freedom to live life to its fullest potential. Conclusion: the power of self-awareness and growth. As we've explored throughout this discussion, there are various signs that may point to an older woman being stuck in certain negative patterns that limit her potential. From a closed mindset and resistance to change, to gossip and living in the past, these behaviors can be a reflection of deeper struggles or a failure to evolve as time goes on. But it's important to remember that these signs aren't a permanent reflection of who someone is. They're simply patterns that can be changed with self-awareness and a commitment to growth. Aging doesn't have to mean stagnation. It can be a time for reinvention, for embracing new possibilities, and for pushing past the comfort zones we've spent years cultivating. No matter how old we are, we all have the ability to continue learning, adapting, and improving. Our experiences over the years give us a unique perspective on life, but it's important to remember that wisdom doesn't mean we know it all. It means we're open to change, humble enough to acknowledge our flaws, and brave enough to take risks in order to grow. The key to moving beyond these negative behaviors is self-awareness. Recognizing when we've become stuck in a particular mindset, when we're relying on outdated habits, or when we're sabotaging our own progress is the first step toward breaking free. But acknowledging these traits is only the beginning. The real work comes in choosing to make changes, no matter how small, and committing to personal growth. This process isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about understanding that life doesn't stop at a certain age. It's a continuous journey of discovery and transformation. One of the most powerful things we can do as we age is to refuse to let these behaviors define us. By embracing a mindset of lifelong learning and improvement, we create opportunities for new experiences, deeper connections, and more meaningful fulfillment. Aging doesn't have to be a decline. It can be a time of rejuvenation and rediscovery. The choices we make today can shape the life we live tomorrow. To every older woman watching, understand that it's never too late to change. You're not bound by your past actions or attitudes. You have the ability to redefine yourself at any stage in life. By letting go of old habits, staying open to new ideas, and prioritizing self-care and personal growth, you can unlock a new chapter of happiness, health, and fulfillment. And to everyone else, remember that the signs we've discussed apply to all people, regardless of age. We all have moments where we get stuck in negative patterns. The key is to recognize those moments, reflect on them, and take the necessary steps to move forward. We all have the power to evolve, no matter how old we are, and the journey of growth is one that can be pursued with excitement, passion, and purpose. The future is full of possibilities, and with each passing year you have more experience, more wisdom, and more potential than ever before. Embrace that. Choose to evolve, adapt, and keep moving forward. It's your life to live, and the best years are always ahead of you, waiting to be explored.